Niels, what are we doing today?
Today we're going to. I have this lovely Danish accent, so we are going to be very happy with. In 10 years, we look at this video and thought, "Holy shit, our accents are horrible." Yeah.
Oh, well, we'll get better.
I'm afraid not. Nah. Anyways, today Midget is on a mouse hunt. We have mice. I think it's when it's more than one, it should be mice, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So he's on a mice hunt, and I'm going to try and set up this weird idea that I had, that maybe you could combine some elements of pen and paper and live roleplay. I know that some people call it semi-live or semi live action or anything like that. But the problem with semi-live is often that it actually takes the two worst parts of both, I think, because you take pen and paper has a lot of control over what happens, has a lot of structure, which is nice, which is something that most live action role plays lack. When you have live has some extraordinary attributes when it comes to immersing yourself into the experience, and it has some, like, you can act on a lot of things because they actually happen, which in roleplay, when things happen, you just throw some dice and it doesn't feel very immersive to throw dice. So maybe you could combine the two in a different way than semi-live does, because semi-live is lacking the control from pen and paper and the systems from pen and paper, and I think that's the greatest thing about pen and paper, is that it somehow takes this illusion and makes it close to possible. It makes sense sometimes, or at least it tries to make sense.
So today we're gonna try and combine those things.
We're going to try a setup we call hybrid, in hopes that that it could work. So this is our setup. Right now it's a bit rough. It will get better. And the idea is that we've actually played a lot of Shadowrun here, and we learned a lot from the experience of Shadowrun, like with systems and such. But then again, Shadowrun has its own faults. So we thought about changing. Now we're going to try Mutant Year Zero, which we are very excited about. And we couldn't do hybrid with Shadowrun because Shadowrun is so complex. But Mutant is a lot simpler. So there might be a chance that you can introduce new elements.
So, what are we looking at?
Well, this is the first tryout for hybrid. There's multiple ideas here. This is the very first tryout, so keep in mind that everything is not as it should be. But here we have this system. Right now it's called player status system, and the idea is that as a player, it could sometimes be hard to signal both to the GM and the other players what it is you're doing. So the idea here is that you can have them all turned off, which means I'm not in the scene, I'm not here. You can also see I left the scene. So the idea is that whenever you enter the scene and you don't know what to do, you click the green one. Now you tell the GM and the other players, I don't know what to do, but I'm here. Whenever you get the idea for a character to do something, you switch it off and you put the yellow one. The yellow one tells all the other players that I know what to do, but I'm not in a hurry. I can wait. And this is mostly important to the GM, so to take everything in the right order. And then there is the red one, which means I know what my character should do, and I'm in a hurry. I need to do it fast. Like a skeptic, most people will think, well, this system is not needed because there is always a turn or a queue system of some sort that tell what the game when it's people's turn to do something. The issue here is that it's mostly used for combat and it's not very suited for a free play. Like when you're at base or you're doing anything else that is not combat related, it can be challenging to find out who is doing what at what time. That's one part of the system. The other part is that as a GM, when you describe a scene, it can be problematic to find out what the other players are doing or what they think they're about to do. Like if you describe the scene and you can see all of these are green, then you know as a GM they don't know what to do yet. It's a signal to them to know that we don't know what to do. And that could be a great tool as a GM. For the other players, it's good to know that if you're thinking about cooperating with one of the others or to do something, if you see there's another player that's green, okay, he doesn't know what to do, maybe I should go over and have a talk with him. And if they're all yellow, yeah, well then we can just take it by turn. But if one of them is red, then you know, oh, he has something important in his mind. We need to take him first. And then there's the pink one. And the pink one is there's a lot of talk about player safety these years. And player safety is the big thing. And the problem with most player safety systems is that they like if you're afraid of spiders, or if you're afraid of if you have a phobia or have a traumatic past or something, most of the systems that I've looked at require you to open your soul and tell the other players what it is that's problematic. And if you have a phobia of something you find embarrassing, the chances that you're going to tell the other players that that's your phobia and we should adjust to that or try to avoid the subject. That's it's not other people's business. So the idea here is that you have this cube, and when you turn it on, you tell the players and the GM that whatever is going through the story, you don't like it. Like if all the players start to yell at each other because that's part of the story and how the characters react is very natural for them. That's not necessarily what all players like. Some players doesn't like when they're screaming and yelling. Then they can flip this on, and it all tells the GM that something is going on you don't like. This is not for a tool for players to control the game. That's not how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to say, I don't feel comfortable what's going on. The idea is that both the GM and the players know when this one comes on, yes, we should try to get to the next scene, or if everybody is yelling and that's the topic at hand, maybe that's the issue, we should tone it down a bit. Because at the end of the day, we don't want to know what traumatic things happen in people's past. It's none of our business. And I think this is our first move in that direction. We can see if it works. We don't know. And then there's the GM. Often there's an issue with players that doesn't know what is happening. Because we have a lot of player freedom. So the idea here is we have these three symbols. This one is karma. I think it's the Hindu god Ganesh we have as a statue. And just the thing is that whatever the players do when I flip this on, they know there will be some kind of freedom, but there will also be consequences. This one could be when they enter just a regular city, not just an old tavern or something. So they know there's freedom and there's consequence. The other one here, the green one, is anarchy. Like if we meet some highwaymen or some robbers or something, go for it. There's not much consequence here. If you want to kill them all, do that. If you want to let them leave, do that. You have a lot of freedom. Be creative, find out new wonderful things, so on. And then we have the motorcycle helmet. I would like to have something else, but that's what we have. That is high consequence. That means that, like, if you're, let's say you're in a fantasy setting and you're up at the castle with the prince or something for the kingdom, well, there are some high consequences if you do something stupid here. At the same time, there's also consequences for some good things, like if you take a risk and it pays off and so on. So high risk, high reward, and karma and anarchy. This is to help players, because I know that there's a lot of old players that have played a lot that knows these things, and they are very good to analyze the situation and find out what to do and so on. For those, this system might seem not relevant, but then again, as a GM, I could, like, if, for example, if I see all of the players are drained, they don't feel motivated at all, I can switch on the anarchy and give them a fun time. That's not as a GM, you know that some players need some motivation and so on. They could use it for that, and at the same time, you can flip on the Ganesh figure, the karma symbol. If players have gone too overboard with things and think that everything is a playground, and they need to be reminded that we need to stay on Earth too to make this story happen, and at the same time we can flip it on and say there's high consequence here, think about what you're doing. So this is a tool for the GM to communicate to the players what is happening and what is at stake. And these light tools, this is the first try with it. Tomorrow I'm actually a bit excited to see if the players understand to use them and understand the signals, the values that they hold. But time will tell. Maybe you need to make it much different or anything. We'll see.